GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, Montreal. I'm Lauren Dupuis. Our top story today. The coroner is urging the province to require AEDs in high-risk care facilities, and a severe storm left tens of thousands without power. Traffic is moving with only minor delays. Over to you, Ryan.
Ryan, the Montreal Canadiens earned 2 NHL awards earlier this week, with Captain Nick Suzuki receiving the Selk Trophy.
Lauren, Cole Caulfield was also honored, taking home the Lady Byng Trophy for sportsmanship and gentlemanly conduct.
Ryan, the awards mark the first time the Canadiens captured both the Selk and Lady Byng trophies in the same season.
Lauren, all right, let's get into it and dive straight into today's headlines, starting with the top local news. Good morning, Montreal. Here's what you need to know as you head out. A downtown transit strike, a winter storm warning, and a new city tax proposal. Quebec's chief coroner, Julie Kim Godden, released a report on Thursday urging the provincial government to require automated external defibrillators in any care facility that serves high-risk patients. The recommendation follows a fatal cardiac arrest last year at a Montreal Intermediate Care Centre that lacked an AED, resulting in a single death. Godden's findings stress that the absence of a defibrillator directly contributed to the loss of life. She calls on health officials to draft province-wide regulations that would place AEDs in nursing homes, rehabilitation centers, and other settings where vulnerable residents receive daily care. The coroner also asks the Ministry of Health to establish training protocols for staff so that devices can be used promptly. If adopted, the rule would aim to prevent similar tragedies across the province. Families and advocacy groups have welcomed the call, emphasizing that timely access to defibrillation can mean the difference between life and death.
Caroline Harvey, the 23-year-old American defender, went first overall in the 2026 Professional Women's Hockey League draft on Tuesday in Detroit. The Vancouver Golden Knights announced her selection, adding a dynamic blue liner to a roster that already boasts a deep offensive core. Harvey, who spent her junior years honing her game in the United States, impressed scouts with a blend of size, skating speed, and strong defensive instincts. The Golden Knights' general manager said the team is excited to build around her as they chase the Walter Cup this season. The draft, the league's third since its launch, featured a handful of promising prospects, but none drew as much attention as Harvey's top pick status. Fans in Vancouver celebrated the news on social media, looking forward to seeing her debut on home ice later this year.
On Wednesday, the city unveiled a slate of 28 new initiatives aimed at strengthening the francophone music scene. The program bundle includes funding for emerging artists, expanded radio slots for French-language songs, and a series of venue partner grants across the island. A highlight is the debut of Nuit Franco, a night-long concert celebration set to open the Montreal en Lumière Festival later this month, featuring performances from both established and up-and-coming Quebec musicians. City officials said the measures are designed to give local talent more platforms and to keep the cultural pulse vibrant throughout the summer. Organizers expect the new grants and promotional efforts to draw audiences to neighborhoods from the Plateau to the Miland, reinforcing the city's reputation as a hub for French-language music. The Cultural Department will provide mentorship workshops for songwriters and a touring circuit that links venues from the East End to the West Island.
Yesterday, a severe storm swept across the greater Montreal region, knocking out electricity for roughly 50,000 households. Strong winds and heavy rain toppled trees and downed power lines, leaving neighborhoods from the Plateau to the South Shore in the dark. Utility crews have been dispatched from the East End to the West, working through the night to restore service. Officials said the outages began early in the afternoon and have persisted despite ongoing repairs. Residents were advised to limit non-essential electricity use and to check on vulnerable neighbors. The province's emergency management team is monitoring the situation and has pledged additional resources if needed. While no major injuries have been reported, the disruption underscores the impact of extreme weather on the island's infrastructure. Restoration efforts will prioritize critical facilities such as hospitals and transit hubs.
Today the Parti Liberal du Québec announced Anton Dion Charest as its candidate for the Verdun riding. Party official Charles Milliard introduced Charest at a gathering in Verdun, noting that the party is fielding a fresh face ahead of the upcoming provincial election. Charest, a longtime activist in the borough, said he will concentrate on affordable housing, transit improvements, and supporting local businesses. The PLQ has not yet released its full slate of candidates, but the Verdun nomination signals a strategic push in the island's southwest as the campaign season accelerates toward the autumn ballot. Local supporters and media were present as the announcement was made. The selection adds momentum to the party's effort to regain seats it lost in the last provincial contest. Charest's campaign team plans a series of neighborhood meetings over the next weeks to engage residents directly. Coming up, we'll examine Hydro-Quebec exporting power to New York despite low reservoirs and what it means for us. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back, everyone. Here, what's happening in our community, and now over to Ryan Mercer for the local stories you need to hear.
Good morning. Police departments across the major metropolitan regions of Quebec have issued thousands of fines over the past 6 years to individuals who directed verbal insults at officers or other municipal officials. The data, obtained by La Presse Canadienne from internal police records, shows a steady use of the fine system for what are classified as disrespectful comments. Officials say the measures are intended to protect the authority of law enforcement personnel and to deter hostile language in public spaces. Critics argue the approach may strain relations between officers and the public, but the numbers indicate that the practice has been widespread and consistent. The fines have been applied in multiple jurisdictions, reflecting a broader provincial trend toward penalizing speech deemed offensive toward police. Each fine is recorded on the offender's file, contributing to a growing list of penalized insults.
Paramedics Union delivered bags of manure tucked inside their own uniforms and placed the bundles outside the offices of the province's Coalition Avenir, Quebec cabinet ministers last week. The Coalition, the province's largest paramedics union, organized the action to highlight the stalled contract talks with the government. The stunt was timed amid stalled negotiations between the province's paramedic workforce and the government, a dispute that has heightened tensions across the region. Union leaders said the gesture was meant to illustrate the frustration felt by frontline emergency responders over the lack of progress on a new collective agreement. Officials from the ministries have not yet responded publicly to the protest. The incident was photographed by local media, showing white uniforms alongside the brown bags, and underscores the growing strain in labor-government relations as negotiations remain at an impasse, leaving many paramedics uncertain about their future working conditions.
The province's brand new digital health record system is already showing growing pains. Santé Quebec reported about 5 weeks after its launch. The centralized platform was meant to bring together patient histories, test results and prescriptions in one online file, simplifying appointments and medication checks for residents. Early feedback, however, points to technical glitches and staffing hiccups that have slowed some clinic workflows. The agency said troubleshooting teams are on the ground and that the most critical errors are beginning to subside. Patients may notice longer wait times for lab results or brief interruptions when doctors access their files, but officials expect stability to improve as the system settles. Families arranging routine checkups might find appointment confirmations taking an extra day, and some pharmacies have reported brief pauses when verifying electronic prescriptions. Santé Quebec remains confident the unified record will eventually streamline care across the province.
Hydro-Quebec began delivering electricity to New York City on June 18 under a long-term export contract. The power flow starts as the province's hydro system faces unusually low reservoir levels and a surge in local electricity consumption. Officials said the agreement will provide a steady market for surplus generation, while critics argue the timing conflicts with Quebec's need to meet rising domestic demand. The export arrangement follows months of monitoring that showed water storage below the multi-year average. Hydro-Quebec spokesperson confirmed the shipments will travel through existing high-voltage transmission lines that connect the province to the U.S. Northeast grid. The move marks the first large-scale cross-border sale of Quebec-generated power to the New York metropolitan area, and comes as the electricity system operates under pressure from higher local use and below-average reservoir conditions.
Kevin Bouchard resigned today from his post as Electoral Map Commissioner, citing opposition to the new electoral boundaries approved by Quebec deputies. The resignation announced on June 18 comes as the province conducts its regular review of constituency lines, a process that often sparks political debate. Bouchard, a longtime public servant, said the revised map undermines fair representation and chose to step down rather than implement the changes. Deputies have defended the redistricting as necessary to reflect shifting populations, while opposition parties have questioned the criteria used. The departure adds a new wrinkle to the ongoing discussion about how Quebec's electoral map should be drawn, and it may influence forthcoming legislative deliberations on the matter. The periodic nature of Quebec's map revisions, typically undertaken every 10 years, means this resignation arrives at a critical juncture for upcoming elections.
Let's get a look at your morning forecast with our weather team.
A gentle overcast drapes Montreal this morning, setting a calm backdrop for today's plans and comfort. On this day, Montreal once reached a sizzling 33.3 Celsius back in 2020, a record set during an intense heat wave that pushed the city well above its usual summer feel. The coldest reading for June 17th came in 2013, when a sharp dip brought temperatures down to 9 Celsius as a rare Arctic air mass lingered. By comparison, the climate normal for today hovers around 23 Celsius high and 16 low, reminding us how today's milder overcast sits comfortably between those extremes. The city is under an overcast with temperatures at 17 Celsius, humidity at 89%, and a breeze of 8 kilometers per hour. By 9 a.m., a light shower will arrive, nudging the temperature to 18 Celsius, and the rain will linger through noon, peaking at 19 Celsius. After the drizzle, clouds will thicken and the afternoon will stay overcast, climbing to 22 Celsius by 3 p.m. and easing to 20 Celsius as the sun sets around 8:45 p.m. The high will reach 26 Celsius, while the low tonight drops to 15 Celsius. A gust of 36 kilometers per hour from the southeast will add breezy. UV index is 6, so sunscreen is wise for exposed skin. Keep an eye on rainfall warnings for Mascouche, Rodin-Joliet, St. Eustache, St. Jérôme and St. Adèle, St. Sauveur if you're heading outdoors. Looking ahead, Thursday brings a cooler high of 23 Celsius and a low of 15 Celsius, with a high chance of rain, 95%, so a morning umbrella is wise. Friday eases to a high of 21 Celsius and the same low, staying mostly overcast and offering a modest 30% chance of showers. Saturday holds a high of 19 Celsius, low 15, and a 40% rain probability, perfect for a cozy indoor day. Sunday warms back to 22 Celsius high, low 15, and a 35% chance of rain, giving a brief break between showers. Finally, Monday caps the stretch with a high of 22 Celsius, low 16, and a 55% rain chance, so keep that rain jacket handy.
Later, we'll break down today's traffic delays, preview Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and the farewell to Pastamore. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Descaries interchange remains the biggest holdup this morning. The 40 east to a 15 south connection at exit 66 is still under major hindrance, so expect backups building from Descaries Boulevard onto St. Laurent. Westbound traffic at the Laurentides interchange is also slowed, with a major hindrance on the mainline and a minor holdup in the service lane. The 15 south to a 40 east movement at exit 1E is similarly affected, adding extra time for commuters heading toward the east end. Both Pont Clement and Victoria Bridge report major hindrances, so crossing the river will be slower than usual. The exit 2 corridor at Rue Sauvé and Boulevard Henry Bourassa on the Autoroute des Laurentides is also under a major hindrance, so plan an extra 5 minutes if you're heading north. Aside from these spots, most routes are clear. No transit disruptions have been reported, and the afternoon outlook looks steady with no new incidents expected.
Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon tribute lights up Le Dome in Brossard tonight, a performance that will transport you back to the 70s, perfect for anyone craving iconic rock. It's a rare chance to hear the album live with visuals echoing original tour. Meanwhile, the Montreal Baroque Festival kicks off today across historic sites, offering 4 days of lavish music, dance, and theater, ideal if you love elegant sounds and a taste of the city's heritage. Each venue offers a unique acoustic experience you won't want to miss. Festival sur le Canal opens tomorrow at the Esplanade du Centenaire, showcasing indie, experimental, and ambient acts, great for listeners seeking fresh, boundary-pushing vibes. The canal backdrop makes it an outdoor party for a weekend stroll. Simon Gouache takes the stage at Théâtre Manuvie in Brossard this evening, delivering witty observations that'll start your night on a high note. His humor blends commentary with personal anecdotes, a must-see for anyone looking to unwind. And now here's Tyler with sports.
Big award news out of Montreal. The Canadiens had a night to remember. A double trophy haul for the Canadiens. Captain Nick Suzuki took home the Frank J. Selk Trophy, while Cole Caulfield was awarded the Lady Byng Trophy. The NHL announced both honors on Friday, according to CBC Sports. 2 awards, 1 team, a strong statement for Montreal's core. The PWHL has revealed the selection order for its 2026 draft, according to Sportsnet. The announcement came 2 days before the draft itself, giving teams and fans a clearer picture of how the day will unfold. Details on which team holds which pick have not yet been specified in the report. The Canadiens' playoff run is over. Carolina's Logan Stankoven scored one of 3 first-period goals in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final, and the Hurricanes eliminated Montreal, advancing to the Stanley Cup Final. That report comes from CBC Sports.
Pastamore in Dollard des Ormeaux has been a West Island staple for more than 4 decades, a family-run Italian kitchen where generations have gathered over plates of fresh pasta and simmering sauces. The owners announced that the restaurant will close its doors on the 14th of June, marking the end of an era for the neighborhood. Yet the family isn't hanging up their aprons. They're shifting to an online shop that will ship their signature pastas and sauces across the island. For many Montrealers, Pastamore was more than a dinner spot. It was the place where birthday celebrations, late-night study breaks, and quiet family meals felt like home. Its legacy reminds us that community lives in the flavors we share. And now a sweet send-off for Pastamore, the beloved family-run Italian spot in DDO, closing after 4 wonderful decades.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From city hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMNA for the local Sunset Montreal's evening newscast.
Here on St. Laurent Boulevard, just steps from the bustling market, a group of Montreal physicians gathered at the Center for Preventive Medicine. Dr. Amélie Boussachar, a radiologist with 3 decades of experience, joined family doctors and cardiologists to issue a joint opinion on the rise of whole-body MRI scans offered by private clinics to people without any symptoms. They described a recent morning when a young couple, eager to be proactive, walked into a sleek downtown imaging center, only to leave with a stack of bright-colored reports that flagged harmless variations. The doctors explained that those incidental findings can spark months of anxiety, unnecessary follow-up appointments, and bills that strain a family budget. By speaking out together, the medical community hopes to steer Montrealians toward evidence-based screenings, preserving both peace of mind and hard-earned dollars. It's a reminder that caring for our health is as much about asking the right questions as it is about avoiding the noise of unnecessary technology. When we trust expertise, we protect our well-being and our community.
On a crisp Saturday morning along St. Laurent Boulevard, a modest crowd gathered outside the historic Palais des Congrès. Among them, community volunteers, local business owners, and a few curious students watched as Charles Hudon, a senior criminal investigations expert from the Sûreté du Québec, stepped onto the podium. He was there not in uniform, but in a simple navy sweater, his badge tucked away, a gentle smile on his face. The Quebec Liberal Party had invited him to share a vision of partnership, using his years of investigative experience to help shape policies that protect neighborhoods and support victims. As Hudon spoke, he recalled a winter night 2 years ago, when a coordinated effort between his team and neighborhood volunteers solved a string of break-ins, turning fear into a story of collective resilience. The audience responded with quiet applause, and later, a local bakery owner handed him a fresh baguette, a small thank you that captured the spirit of the day. Tonight's moment reminds us that when expertise meets community, the possibilities grow brighter for all of Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us this morning. Today we highlighted the coroner's call for mandatory AEDs in at-risk care facilities, a vital step for community safety. Stay tuned for more stories tomorrow. From all of us at the local Sunrise, have a great day. This is Lauren Dupuis.